Aye, shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel, shalom, all right? This is your brother Kazaki out of Green Millstone, New Orleans, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, right? But prior to getting started, we want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Green Millstone, rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the whole elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? And the title of today's lesson is going to be Life Gives the Hardest Battles to the Strongest Soldiers, all right? That's the title of today's lesson is Life Gives the Hardest Battles to the Strongest Soldiers, all right? And, as we near the coming in of Yahweh Shemal Shai, right? We basically, entered into the gridiron, man, and basically entered into the truth. We entered into the gridiron, man. Like this scripture says, enter ye in at the straight gate, man. Right. We basically, on the pathway, on a road, and Lord willing, will lead us to what? Salvation, man. Because we ultimately want, that's what we ultimately want, man. We want salvation. All right. We want the kingdom of heaven. Okay. But we're going to be battle tested, right? And, we're going to have to stay strong. We're going to have to stay firm within the Lord. There were certain people would be martyrs, basically, for the truth and things like that. Brothers going to come out, in a figuratively way, limping past the finish line, but they made it, man. Just going into, basically, them scarcely being saved, man. Okay, so we be given, the hardest test, man. Okay, because ultimately, what do we have, man? We have the world against us. Okay, it's not just one aspect of life or two or three, right? We really have the world against us. All right. And I just saw this here with this line. Okay, and this line, if I'm not mistaken, looks like he lost an eye, all right, in battle, and he has that scar, man. And that scar, when I saw the picture, it reminded me, of the leg, being put through those trials, man. All right, the fiery tribulations, the troubles. Okay, we got to walk that narrow path. We have the danger set before us in order to get to the city. All right, and it's a must. There's no other way around it. There's nothing you can do. Okay, all right, and but the Lord believes. Okay, and it's put the spirit on us. To pass the test, right? Okay, the scriptures say that we are going to be tried, right? And that the Lord would, deliver you from your temptations because you've kept the word of His patience, man. And I'm quoting this stuff, but we're gonna get it real quick. We're gonna go through a few precepts. Lord willing, is be edifying. Okay. All right. The first precept here. This is Joshua 1 and verse 9, and it says, "Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage." Right. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy power is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. Right. And we believe the Lord is with us. What? Right, on these journeys, right, on these tasks. Okay, you're gonna get you get spiritually beat up on in this truth, man. But that's to refine you. That's to make you better, right? Like I said earlier, the gold tried in the fire. You getting chicken, slack, taking spiritual chastisement, man. Okay, from the Lord. Okay, so He can make you better and better, over the course of time. Okay, I am. I'm gonna read that again. It says, "Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage, man. You gotta be strong in the truth, man. You're gonna have to endure a lot. All right, you're gonna have a lot of. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you have a lot of weight on you, right? It's just it's just that simple. You got to carry that weight, but and have you have help in the truth too, right? You got Yahweh Shem Shai, right? You got the brotherhood, okay. So hey, sometimes you might need a little help, you know, and it's truth, man. I'm just saying it's very much so possible. We all could use a little help, here and there, all right? And it says, be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy power is with thee, whether whitherso thou goest. So the Lord's with us, man. We got to believe it. We want to pass those trials and tribulations. We want to be tough, man. We want to be made strong, right? Okay, and the Lord's doing all of this now, right? Having us go through this and that and this and that, okay, as far as our trials and our tribulations and our tests, so that, when the real test comes, we're comfortable with being uncomfortable because we had already been uncomfortable for so long, right? And waiting on Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. While other people, within the world, they're going to be losing it, all right? That's something that's, going to happen. Okay, let's go here. All right. I think it's around. The second Ezra 16 and verse 74 says, "Here, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand." Right now, the days of trouble are right now. Man, the Lord's speeding up the days. Okay, he's having everything happen fast. All right. And we're on a crash course for the return of Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. All right. The Lord's coming with great power. Right? Okay, but before all that, man, you're gonna have to, you're gonna see, the changing, of the laws, right? You talk about being a so-called a police state, right? A totalitarian, okay? All right. We're gonna see Babylon a great change into being ruled with harshness, draconian, okay? All right, so where simple breaking of laws could very well be punishable by death, man. Okay, those are the days of trouble, man. Sea camps. That's another thing. The implementation of the MOTB. Okay, basically cybersecurity. The watching of people in everything that they do. All right. And it says, "But I will deliver you from the same." So we believe that Yahweh Shemel Shai will deliver us. Right? We believe this here. Hey, look, we got all these tests. Right? And we believe that, we've been given these tests from Yahweh Shemel Shai to make us what? Stronger soldiers, man. Okay. Pretty much in the description or whatnot of the picture, and I'll pull up just real quick, see if they got something else here. I don't necessarily see. I mean, they got other so-called pictures up here, and this is just something that was just an image I pulled up from off of Google. Okay, and I'll just pull up this one right here. Okay, because this one here, it just says, I'll just read the caption real quick. It says, "Don't give up the hardest battles or give it to the strongest soldiers." And as you see this, guy here, I believe this is from a show called Game of Thrones, if I'm not mistaken, with a character called Jon Snow. But the point is, against all odds, right? Because you got the world against you. Okay, everything is against you, but and also everything is for you, right? In the spirit, because the Lord got you, right? The world is against you, okay, but the Lord got you all at the same time, and it's a beautiful thing, man. It truly is, right? This is verse 75, and it says, "Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for God is your guide," right? And the Lord's going to guide us, man. You're going to go through those battles. You're going to be battle tested. You're going to be, you might be scarred up, right? We saw the line, You know what I'm saying? You might, you might come in there with some, you might get there with some wounds on you. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? We being spiritually, wounded now for our refining process. Okay, let's get this real quick. All right, this is Sirach 2 and verse 1. It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." You gonna go through it, man. You gonna catch hell. And I remember, around the time, basically, I was coming into the truth. Being they basically call it a so-called conspiracy theorist or whatever. You gotta watch what you say too, because there's certain words that just so, they're taboo. But the point is, you know, I was catching hell, but I didn't understand why I was catching hell. I just knew I was just trying to, find the right way, all at the same time. But, this truth gives you comfort, man, because now you understand and you know why, man. You know why those trials, why those tribulations, those tests was given to you to being tried, man, because you had to go through a refining process and you're still going through it, right? Okay. All right. This is verse 2, and it says, "Set thy heart aright and constantly endure." You got to constantly go through, basically being made hard, right? Okay. You got to constantly go through those afflictions, okay? And it says, "And make not haste in the time of trouble." Don't be hasty, right? Don't try to make those impulsive decisions based on the flesh, man. Because the flesh, when all this stuff start going down, right? When the firearms get shot off, who know they may actually have somebody do a T attack, using some type of bombs or something, going at the infrastructure. Your people are calling you. So-called friends are calling you. They're trying to contact you from out of the world or something. Um, you know, don't give in to none of those things, man. You're going to be pushed and pulled from all different directions. People telling you what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do and things of that nature. But follow Yahweh Shem Shai, man. And that's the beautiful thing also of having a council, right? You have the body, right? And you got the spirit, man. Okay? Is that with you? All right? And it says, "Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end." Right, man. So yeah, basically, spiritually attach yourself to the Lord, man. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and get this here precept, and I intend for this one to be long. Okay, this is Revelation 3 and verse 10. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee, right, from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." All right, and like I said, you see this guy, he's standing alone. He's going up against, all these different men, but just know, we have Yahweh Shai, and I'm just using this, as a, whatever, as a picture or whatever, but like I said, we have Yahweh Shai, man. So we got everything we need behind us, right? We just can't fail. We can't doubt. We got to let the Lord guide us, right? And we got to pass the test, man, right? Those tests, like I said, that life gives the strongest soldiers the hardest test, man, right? But we got to pass them tests, man, all right? For Yahweh Shem Shai, the scriptures say, "Fight for the truth until death, and the Lord shall fight for thee," man. And we got to really believe that, okay? And this is just another, picture. And I'll just read the caption real quick and we'll get some more precepts. It says, "There is no defeat for a man who refuses to stop fighting," right? And we got to fight, man. Like I said, we fighting against all odds. We're fighting against the world, all day, 24/7, but the point is, not to give in, okay? Against all odds, we must be triumphant, all right? read verse 11. It says, behold, I come quickly. The Lord's coming, man. He's coming quickly. And it says, uh, hold fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown, man. So, hey, man, we got to make sure we stay in the truth, stay, keeping our garments, okay, as the scriptures say, and just stand firm for the Lord, okay. This scripture say, let's get this real quick. Let's see here. I'll just get the point. It says, it's 1 Corinthians 15:58. It says, therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, and always, right, abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. But you got to be unmovable in this thing, right? You can't let somebody, get you off your kill, man. And, because that's a part of the test, man. The Lord will send people, okay, the Lord will send people your way, to try to get you, off of keeping your eyes single, man. Keeping an eye on him, the word, the truth, right? And especially when times get harder and harder, when those stronger tests come, those harder tests come, right? The Lord's going to come, the demons are going to come out of people, man. You're going to see people for who they truly are in that time, man. Okay? It's very, very well possible, especially pretty much like those, especially those people that's basically, within the world, man. I'd, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai. I just wanted to speak out on that, man. We're going to go through hard tests. We're going to be tried. We're going to have to endure, it's feel like, one trouble after another trouble after another trouble, but it's okay though. Just know that's the Lord's chastising, right? The Lord loves you, okay? And against all odds, man, you're gonna be able to pass the test, making you a strong warrior, so you can pass that ultimate test, which is the implementation, right, of the MOTB that the scripture said will come and try the whole world, but the Lord will deliver you from out of those scenarios, okay? And you have to believe it, all right? But that's pretty much all I have through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai Shai. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying first and foremost to the hopeful elect. But probably getting out of here, we want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Harakakadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace and blessings and salutations be to the whole elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? Kwam Yasha Allah, Baba Ball, and Shalom.